What's the time period? You mentioned 8:24 to 8:30.
Yeah.
That wasn't for all of them, was it?
8:24 for 8:30. So in that 1 week period, that's what was reported.
That was all this, aside from the year-to-date homicides.
Correct.
Thank you.
One more thing. Do you know if they're getting any more clubs for people that have those cars that to help them not get stolen?
We don't have that many clubs left. I think the last time when we had a few of them, we do have the screws that go on the license plate, and those screws going one way, hard to take them out. The plates have been one of the things that have been taken. Before they would just take the sticker off, and now that people are more out there looking at what's going on in their neighborhood, now they're just taking the whole plate so that they can carefully take off that tag. So now that they're taking the whole plate and instead of just the tag. But that has also gone down.
Can you give the public a criteria in order to qualify for one of those few clubs that are left?
The clubs, Honda's got to be between 90 and 95, and the screws. I don't think we have. I think anybody can come for the screws that to hold your plate on so that they don't take them. But as far as the clubs, those are for the older model vehicles, because some of the older model vehicles, a shaved key will go in there and start your engine. So, but yeah, come on, give us a call if you know anybody. You can give either Steve or myself a call.
I do give you guys your props. I lived here all my life. I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot of people get killed back in the days, especially in the 90s. But the thing I have a problem with, and it's been bothering, I just don't have nobody to talk to about it, but it's harassment. A lot of known cops like to harass people when they're not supposed to. What can we do about that? A lot of your officers harass a lot of people for no reason. What can we do about it?
I've always said, and I think that, coming through the academy during my time, we were all taught that we work for you. It's not the other way around. And people are different, You got the good, you got the bad, you got in the between. But I really believe, again, that as a department that I was taught back in 1989 or 1888 when I came on, was that we work for you. And if you come across someone that's harassing you, you feel they're harassing you, I'll be the first one to tell you, and I think Officer Chacon will be the first time because he has a couple of chairs ahead of me in graduating, but he will tell you the same, that if you have a problem with an officer, to report it. I don't condone it. I know that he doesn't condone it. It all goes back to, would I want an officer treating my parent bad or my family bad? I don't, and I'll be the first one to jump in his Kool-Aid. But it's also up to you to get educated, and don't let, if you really feel that if you're being harassed by an officer, to report it. Call the supervisor, and this is for all of you. If you feel that there's an officer that's not doing his job, and you feel that there's got to be a report for this, or there has to be a crime, and you don't feel at that point you're comfortable with the decision that officer made, then call his watch commander and let him know, officers, there's nothing against you, but can I have a supervisor come out here and explain to me why there's not a report being taken, or why you're treating me this way. End it there. Don't wait 2, 3 days, 4 days later where you get more upset. It wasn't taken care of. You don't feel that you got the right service, and you let it build up, and then it's too late to report it. And it's not never too late, but now time has passed and it's not on your side. So for each and every one of you, again, I would want officers to treat you as if they were to treat my own family, as if they want their own families treated. So don't forget that. If you feel that you're not getting that great service, the department's changed so much. It's not, what you believe it is. I mean, one of the things Officer Chacon will tell you that, our biggest support are you. You will come to aid us in problems if someone's complaining against us. our supervisors are gonna do their job and say, we gotta most likely take this complaint. And it's gonna be up to you if that complaint is sustained or not sustained. But don't be afraid to report it.
One of the things that would help you, young man, at the moment, we're all caught up in emotions, and sometimes we can't think for whatever reason, our minds scramble. If they're driving a car, usually sometimes there's two officers to a car, or one, whatever, if you can remember, there's several cars, you can try to remember the closest car and look at the number of the car. Never mind the license plate, because it's got 7 numbers. And it's down here and down there, you might not even get to see them. But you usually can see the number of the car, which is usually on the trunk and on the side of the car somewhere. And try to remember maybe the last 3 or the last 4 numbers of that car. Of course, the day of the week, the time of day, and the incident. And like he says, if you have to go down to the police station, whatever police station or whatever part of the city or any city, and report those last few numbers of that car, they'll know what car it is. Okay, the last 3 numbers of somewhere in that car, the numbers. And you'll be surprised, they do follow, they have come a long way. But they're people, humans like us.
The cars have numbers that represent what officer's working. One's the division 04, you'll see them in the back, and then the numbers on the side or on the top. The last 3 numbers will identify the vehicle. Our badges all have numbers here that identify each, and every one of us have a different number, and our serial number. Again, don't be afraid that if you feel that you're not getting the service that you deserve, then ask the officer for a business card, and that'll give you the phone number to the station, and it has his name and his serial number. And like I said, if that's all comes back to you, whether you're going to do something or you're going to let it go.
We have a question from the stakeholder.
This doesn't have anything to do, this is the reason I came. I had an incident where some young men were harassing me in front of my house and blocked my driveway. I'm a senior citizen, and they were very belligerent at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. I called Hollenbeck. I had to wait half an hour first after a nice officer said, wait a minute, because I was so upset. Then I waited half an hour, got the line going. Finally I get somebody on the phone, and he says, oh, we're sorry, that's nothing, and I think we can do about it. I thought we were supposed to have a couple of officers in the new building that we're building, that was built over there on Huntington Drive, for somebody direct. I mean, it really frightens me. And then, you rattle off these, if it takes a half an hour to just reach the watch commander at Hollenbeck, what's going on? And this was in the morning, on a weekday. So I don't know if you're saying that the crime has gone down, where are all the officers? Or is there specific numbers for each one of the areas in the El Sereno, the Rose Hill, the different areas that we can call so that we can be attended to with what are our concerns?
I don't know what building you're talking about. I know we had a substation way back when. That's no longer a substation.
I called the main number for Hollenbeck. I looked it up on my iPhone and called that number direct. It said, this is the number you call for emergencies. And
Okay, well, probably not the sub. I'm just addressing the first question you had was a substation. We don't have that substation. Okay, so as far as the station, ma'am, we try to do our best to respond to a lot of the calls. Even though crime's down, we have so many other calls that come out, and they prioritize them from high to middle to low.
this was just answering the phone. They just said, just a moment. And the moment was half an hour. That's my concern.
Okay, if you're calling the station and there's people in front of that officer and he's already, and in other words, just because you call doesn't mean that he's going to take you prior to the ones that are already there. Now, if there's officers that are there that are taking, whether it's a traffic report, a robbery, a burglary, whatever it is, kind of report, and it takes you that long to hold, unfortunately, that it's I wish it could be better. but if there's 2 officers assigned to that desk, our morning rush is probably the heaviest, the morning and the evening rush, with people coming into the station and making reports.
Okay, so I want to take that a little bit further. What if there's somebody coming in, breaking into my house in the middle of the night, and I'm calling? That's what I'm getting at.
Okay, then you wouldn't be calling the station, you'd be calling 911. And when you call 911, that's a different, now you're talking about 2 different things. You're talking about a parked car in your driveway versus an emergency call. The priority is definitely going to be someone breaking into your house.
So my problem, where I went wrong is I could have just called 911 while these kids were harassing me and backing back and forth to the car, not letting me get out of my driveway.
If you feel that the 911 is in your danger, that they're threatening you, or you feel that you're threatened that they're going to do bodily harm to you, then that's the call you'll put out. So I mean, there you're telling me you're asking something different now versus just a car being blocked in your driveway.
I guess that's what I wanted to get, because I was so upset by it. I was trying to, I thought, oh, well, I'll just call and I'll make a report on that. But I guess then the thing was just to go do 911.
I'm a graduate of the community policing from the academy. I've got quite a few family members that are police officers. But one of the things that Anthony can attest to this is when I dress like this, I get harassed. I mean, I really do get harassed, and then I have to tell them that I got people in the force that's a little on the high side, and it kind of stops. But I think he's right. There has to be a little bit of more of a community feeling. And I'll give you an example. We have somebody on our block that works for the department, so she has cameras, and the minute anything happens, you guys are there. I mean, there's like 10 cops that come at one time. I found dead people on our street, and they can't get somebody to come out, you know. But the thing that got to me this one time was, and Anthony was there was a sergeant, and happened to be of another ethnic race. And when and I said, hey, your car's been scratched, it's been keyed. He said, yeah, well, tell your people not to be keying our car. And I said, excuse me? It says, what people? He says, your people. I said, well, you see, he's the president of the neighborhood council, and I happen to be on neighborhood council. Oh, sir, excuse me, sir. Oh, excuse me, sir. And there was apologies all over the place. So you're right. But it has to be that mindset that we're all important, not just because they sit on the neighborhood council. And again, Officer Cassini, you've been very good. You've been there when we needed you for the alcohol licenses, and the other gentleman I've seen you before. But there is that mindset, and I think it's sometimes for people that may not like us. I'm not sure how to say that. Thank you.
Yeah, I did follow up on that. Protect, preserve. There's been a lot of incidents over there on Guardia side. I know everybody grew up there, whatever. They get calls. They don't come as fast as one of you guys got hurt or anything. You guys jump when someone goes down on your side. But when it comes to the residents, they take their time. And that's getting on a lot of people's nerves, you know. I'm not blaming a lot of you, but the majority of them do. They know the areas, you know. They know who's who, where's where, you know. It's like, come on. But if something happens to one of they're there in less than a minute, you know. It'll make sense. We're all human. You bleed red, I do, you know. So what's the difference?
You know, I feel what you're saying. And like I said, it goes back to, are you going to allow it to continue to happen? If you don't say nothing, if you don't say anything to anybody, then it'll continue to happen. I mean, I was sitting in the back there, and just amongst this group, you have your differences. Same with law enforcement. You know, we all come from the community. Within our own organization, you know, it's rules that we follow. There might be some of us that, hey, that doesn't work out for me because it doesn't work for the community, but it is what it is. But if I stand up and say, hey, I understand where you're coming from, but I want a difference, And I want that difference, I want that to happen. Ramona Gardens, I'll give you a prime example of Ramona Gardens. That area was not the greatest area. But there might be people that say, don't go in there that much. We don't want to make the waves. We don't want people to get hurt. But then you have to make a stand and say, no, I don't want that. I want it different for them. I want the change for them. I don't want them to feel that they're incarcerated in a certain area. I made a commitment to give everything I could to that area. And most people would tell you, it has changed so much. But it's something that I stood for and said, I want change, and no one's going to tell me anything different. I'm not going to stand back, and neither should you guys.
Yes, I have to, I'm from Boyle Heights, and I live a few, maybe half a mile from the station. And if I need to call Hollenbeck, I'd rather drive down there. And you do have to stand in line, even if it's one person in front. They're very short-staffed. And since this new captain has been worse, to get a call into Hollenbeck is horrible.